Hey, so in this video, I'm going to show you how to scale an info business from $9,000 a month to $51,000 a month in just 14 days. And I'm going to show you that because we recently did that with one of our clients, Dylan, when we scaled his high ticket info offer from around $9,000 a month previously to $28,443 cash collected and about 51K revenue in just 14 days. And here is the proof. And using this strategy, we also added more than $10,000 in less than 48 hours. Also with Dylan, we managed to scale Marcel from 16 to 78K in just 28 days. Next month, we almost hit 100K in a month. And we also managed to scale smaller offers like Angelo from absolute zero to $5,000 in just 15 days. So to scale high ticket info business to more than $50,000 a month, we need to talk about this one thing. And we call it the velocity scaling formula. It's a 3-step system we always use with our clients. And today we're gonna talk, for example, how to go from no leads to a lot of leads, then how to go from many cold leads to many hot, ready to buy leads, and at the end, how to go from many hot leads, no calls and no time, to many calls and time freedom. So let's begin, but first I want you to tell you about what this video is definitely not about. It's not another BS motivational video, it's not another basic just niche down business advice, and it's definitely not about another generic funnel that you heard 100 times. Instead, this video is gonna give you proven concepts that you can literally copy and paste to your own business. And when I said we're gonna cover a lot, I meant that because we're literally gonna cover everything. Why your organic content is keeping you poor, so why Zuckerberg lies to you, how to create lead gen campaigns that make consistent 3 to 5x cash collected and 7 to 10x revenue, how to make a nurturing sequences that will turn cold leads into hot, ready to buy leads, how to start turning 1 from every 5 leads into calls booked in your calendar, and at the end, probably the best one, how to create sales infrastructure that will be making you money while you sleep. So basically this video is gonna get you from stuck between $5,000 to $20,000 a month with your high ticket business to making more than $50,000 a month, and most importantly, with a business that works for you without you. Okay, so let's dive into this. So first, funnel entry optimization. Simply how to go from no leads to having a lot of leads. And how having no leads looks like. So it's my videos get thousands of views a day, but my calendar is empty. People just follow me because they like my content. I don't know how to attract high ticket prospects. And to be honest with you, this is not your fault because you've been lied to by probably Mark Zuckerberg, but definitely all the gurus telling you that organic content brings the best leads. And this couldn't be further from the truth. So let's think for a second, what actually makes a good high ticket lead trust you with their money? It's things like you're very niche down with your offer, so they precisely know that you have a solution to their very niched problem. You are showing your expertise, right? So they know that they can trust you because you actually know what you are doing. And lastly, you are not making content for the masses, right? Because if you have niched down approach to solving a problem and you are showing your expertise with this niche down problem, how could you be making content for the masses? So this is what makes them trust you. Okay, and what actually happens if you are trying to go viral with your content? So first of all, you need to do some crazy entertaining hooks that just destroys your credibility as an expert. You need to start jumping on the latest stupid trends. And you also need to start using the hot catchphrases, for example, escaping the matrix. And all of this is making your brand and offer feel cheap and not valuable, scare away serious prospects, and ultimately destroying your authority and trust. And don't get me wrong, it's cool if you are selling a $97 courses to teenagers that try to escape the metrics. But does not work at all if you are selling something from 5K. And imagine the best case. If you actually succeed and you actually manage to go viral, what happens? Let's say your video gets 1 million views and let's ask ChatGPT about it. If I sell $5,000 serious high ticket info product and I want to work with qualified people, if my video goes viral and gets 1 million views on IG, in, for example, make money online space, and this is just an example, it can be literally everything. How many percent of people are gonna be qualified from that 1 million? And don't be nice, be very strict with this number, because as we know, ChatGPT always likes to be very nice. Okay, understood, brutally realistic. if you are selling $5,000 high ticket info product and you get 1 million views in the make money online space, the truth is you will get only 0.005% to 0.02%. So 50 to 200 people might be truly qualified and able to afford it. And of course go further and further about it. And the final brute I take is that this is not a good monetization strategy. And I completely agree with ChatGPT on that. So ultimately, it means that if you did all of this work to create a viral video, at the end of the day, you will get about $200 worth of leads. But those leads won't buy from you because they just saw you jumping on the latest trend in front of your camera. So you don't have credibility, authority, and they just don't trust you with their money. And one more thing actually, if the video gets 1 million views, imagine how hard it is to actually get to those 50 to 200 people that are qualified. You will need to go through thousands or millions of people to actually go and reach out to them. So basically, as you can see, organic content is definitely not for lead generation. And don't worry, okay, we're gonna talk later about the use of organic content because this is an amazing tool, but as I said, it's definitely not for lead generation. So you're probably thinking right now, right? Like, okay, cool, I understand that organic is not for lead generation. So what should I do? So let's talk about it. So there are two ways to get in front of high ticket, ready to buy leads. Let's start with the first one, Ads Trifecta. So this is the most reliable way to attract high ticket prospects to your offer. And it's by running profile visit, direct DM, and retargeting ads. Testing creative constantly, starting from 2 to 4 creatives each. So it's anywhere from 6 to 12 creatives at once, targeting different angles and pain points of the prospects. Now, all the traffic from those ads are going onto your landing page, which is literally your Instagram profile. And very important, in your landing page, you have a call to action to your VSL, and it can be a YouTube video or a fully built out landing page. Now, at the end of this VSL, you do a call to action to DM you on Instagram. After that, the setting takes place, you schedule a call, and if you do everything correctly, it will get you a lot of money. So this is the full breakdown of how actually this method with ads works. And of course, we're gonna talk a lot more in depth on how to actually set up your profile, what to put in the VSL, and how to do setting and all of that in later part of this video. So stay tuned. And as I said, this approach is incredibly powerful because we are literally bringing all the leads, right? We are bringing the least intent leads to highest intent leads. And this is why this strategy consistently gets from 5 to 10x on revenue. And let me literally stop you here and show you that, right? So for example, right here, $8,000 spent on ads, $70,000 made. But we're gonna talk about this a little bit later. So let's now talk about outbound stealing method. So this method is really powerful because you don't need to actually spend a single dollar on it. So first of all, go and make a list of 3 to 5 competitors. Then go to their ad library and find the best performing ads. After that, check who is engaging on those ads, reach out to them. And now something really important, there are 2 powerful ways to get them to reply to you. The first one is asking a yes or no, no-brainer question. And the second one, arguably even more powerful, is just asking them another no-brainer question, but framing it like that. You know, name of the competitor, right? And why it is so important? Because if they engage with an ad, it means both that they are problem aware and also looking for a solution, right? And it's basically playing on one of humans' most powerful aspects of nature, because if we ask someone, do you know this person, and they know them, it creates this curiosity because why are they asking that? And from this message, sometimes you can literally get 25% reply rate, which is crazy. And let me show you an actual example, right? So this is, for example, one of the tests that we did run with one of our clients using basically this exact method, right? And those are the results of a campaign like this, right? So for example, we sent out 417 messages and 146 people did reply. So as you can see, it's actually above 25% reply rate. And we managed to make 69 conversations out of that. And let me stop you here for a second because it already sounds kind of crazy, right? And we're gonna talk about the importance of data at the end of this video. And we're gonna also talk about, running A/B tests and all of that. And right here is a good example of why A/B tests are super important. Because we of course run 2 different campaigns with the same client, right? Same offer, everything the same. And right here, 430 messages sent out, 172 replies, so about the same percentage-wise, but as you can see at the end, 91 conversations. So a 40% difference, right? Which easily can add 40% more calls scheduled and at the end of the day, 40% more calls booked. And with this method, usually you can shoot for about 2.5 to 5% booking rate, which means that if you do it 80 messages a day, which is to be honest recommended because you don't probably want to go above that because there can be a little bit trouble with Instagram, you can expect 2 to 4 calls booked a day from this method. Which means if you are having 20% close rate, that can lead to 1 call closed a day. So this concludes how to get a lot of leads, probably more than you will know what to do with, right? Because this is capped at some stage, right? Because you can only send 80 messages a day. But this doesn't have any cap. You can literally scale that up to some crazy numbers. And this is exactly how you go from having no leads to having a lot of leads. Funnel entry optimization. So with this, you will fix your lead generation problem, but another problem will arise. And that means that without prospect conditioning sequence, you will have a lot cold leads. And of course, at the end of the day, you want a lot ready to buy leads. So there was this study done by Google, and this is like a very famous study. So you maybe heard of 7-11-4 rule. You can Google it, it's very popular, but basically means that a customer needs to consume at least 7 hours of content across 11 touch points in 4 different locations before making a purchase. So let me basically illustrate that, right? So this is a cold prospect that just saw your ad and it's on your profile right now. And this is where he actually decides to buy something. So he just saw your ad, right? So let's say that it takes him from here to somewhere here, right? So as you can see, there's a lot of space between where he is right now and where he should be before jumping on a call with you to actually buy something from you. And why it is so important? Because again, when you try to go viral with your content, you don't focus on delivering value, showing your expertise, and building authority. So all the things that we already covered. It really destroys the relationship with the prospect. And also something even more important is that a lot of people will try to convert a prospect from one short form video. So in this example I gave you here, right, when you actually went viral, usually people will try converting people from just this one 30-second video. So that means that they are literally, as we said right here, they are right here and they try to convert this prospect. And it matters so much because without nurturing, establishing your authority and expertise, and without having enough content for people to go from actually here to right here, right? So filling with some content, right? Some short form videos right here, then a call to action to a VSL that takes them from here to here, and then some sequences. People will not buy from you no matter how hard you try. And all the KPIs will suffer, right? Your booking rate will suffer, your close rate will suffer, and even your churn will suffer. So this is why this study is so important. And to be honest, most people don't follow this advice. They just try converting leads that literally consumed 30 seconds of their content across one touch point, across one location. And they ask why I am having trouble with converting leads. So you probably ask right now, okay, cool, I understand the importance of it right now. So what should I do? So let's literally talk about it. And those 4 pieces are an absolute key from turning cold leads into ready to buy leads. And the last step is probably most important, but let's start with the basic, bio optimization. So imagine that you are spending all this money, right, on ads, or all of this time or doing the outreach, right? So the 2 methods that we just covered. And you do all of this work just so people can end up on your landing page, which is, as we said, your IG profile. And this is how it looks, right? Random selfie, photos with your friends on Bali, some nonchalant bio, I make people money, highlights with your travel pics and dinners. So what they will think? Random selfie, unprofessional. Photos with your friends on Bali, 0 value upfront. Nonchalant bio, I don't know what he does. And highlights with your travel pics and dinners, 0 context and results, proof, all of those things. So bad profile literally means throwing money down a toilet. And this is why I call it bio optimization, right? Because it's literally optimizing what will be the first impression of you. And all of those tiny things can literally make or break everything. So instead of all of this right here, you should have something like this, right? So first of all, a clear professional looking profile picture. After that, 3 key pin posts, and more on that a little bit later when we will cover short form videos right here. After that, what you do right now, so for example, I help people lose weight, and at the end some kind of call to action, either to DM you or to watch the video in your bio. And at the end, 2 to 3 highlights, one for client results, second for testimonials, and the last one live, but this is literally optional, but here is where you can put all of your pics from travel and dinners. So this is how you optimize your landing page. And now once your landing page is optimized, you need to post some great stories there. So let's talk about it. IG stories. So I literally got asked this question yesterday by a client. Like he said something like, what's the easiest, highest leverage thing that can make you more money? And I literally think it's IG stories, right? Because posting better stories, right? It takes 5 minutes, it costs nothing, it's literally free money from the audience you already spent all of this time, all of this effort right here gathering. And one common misconception about it is that you either post story fully just for fun or 100% for conversion. But it actually doesn't work like that. It's a spectrum, right? So how to do it correctly? So about 50% of your stories should be what we call hand raiser stories. So it's basically more of the conversion side of stories, right? So it can be a poll, it can be just a straight call to action. So for example, DM me the word start to get started. And why we do those hand raiser stories and what it actually means. So it's basically going from most active to least active, right? So instead of going through general followers and having 10,000 people to DM and like, where do I start? We just start with people who actually raise their hands in the stories. So we go through them, right? So those are the people who actually click something in this poll, then people who like the story, then people who view the story, right? Because then we actually know that they exist and they are active. And at the end, we go through general following. So this is how you do hand raiser stories. And of course, 50% should be more lifestyle stories, right? But not only, when you eat some nice looking pizza, but also some resources, right? Results and testimonials of the clients, and at the end, like your day-to-day life, right? Because also it's important to connect. And with those, you are just giving free value, which is always good. You are showing proof that you are actually working with someone and that you are building great results with them and you are building connection. So this is exactly how to do IG stories. So let's talk about short form videos. So we already covered that they are definitely not for lead generation. So you may ask, okay, how to use them? And I am really glad that you asked. So we use short form videos too, giving free value to people and also showcasing proof while educating them. And this, of course, builds authority and trust. But we also use those videos to shift wrong beliefs of potential future prospects and to pre-handle objections, right? So we basically use them to pre-frame the calls. And of course, at the end to build connection, right? So talk about some kind of stories, your journey, and we basically use it to turn prospects from cold to warm. And this is exactly how you actually execute on that. So first of all, recreate proven hits. So first of all, again, make a list of 3 to 5 competitors. Then download this Chrome extension called SortFeed and sort them by views. Save the best performing videos and now recreate the hooks while giving value after that, right? So let me stop you here for a second, right? Because you're probably wondering, okay, why we sort by views, where we literally spend like 10 minutes talking about that organic content is not for lead generation. And that's a really good question. We use that to find the hooks that actually work, right? But instead of then just taking them and recreating the whole video that was meant to go viral, we just look at the hook and we recreate it, right? So we give it a personal touch because of course we want people to see our video, but the purpose of the video is to get the right attention and then to showcase your value, all of that, not just continue on the retention loop. The second way to do it is to create ideal prospects, right? So it's basically about shifting the beliefs and pre-handling objections. And this first step is basically about this and this, right? So it's about building connection and giving free value, right? And this is your bulk of your videos, like 50% of your organic videos should be made using this method. Now, creating ideal prospects. So write down common objections and misconceptions that you are getting on the calls, right? And literally turn them back into content and feed the content to those prospects before they jump on the call with you. So think about all the objections that you are getting, right? It's not the right time. I already tried drop shipping and all of this bullshit that you are getting on those calls, and feed this content to every prospect before they jump on a call with you, right? So going back to what we are saying here, right? Is basically bridging this gap between a cold lead and someone who is literally just waiting to be closed. So this is exactly how you can stop getting all of those objections and misconceptions on your calls. And lastly, of course, talk about results and stories, right? So just talk about what you did, how you did it, and why it matters. And to be completely honest, this content is probably the best way to do content. But of course, we only have so many results and case studies and stories that we can actually turn into great performing content. So this is how you use short form content. And again, its purpose is to nurture people, right? Is to bridge this gap by small increments, right? By small increments. Every single video stacks on each other, breaking the beliefs, the objections, making an ideal prospect. Okay, and lastly, probably the most important one, so long form videos. And based on what I saw, this is the single most powerful nurturing tool. Because let's again think about this Google study, right? 7 hours of content. So it basically means that your prospects can watch like hundreds of short form videos, or potentially, right, they could just watch one 20+ minute video and literally it will have the same benefit. So instead of just stacking, those short form videos here, boom, boom, you just create like a one VSL that takes them from here to here, and then another one like tailored to them that takes them from here to here. Then you maybe stack some case studies, write short form content, and boom, they are right here. And as I said, they have the ability to turn a completely cold lead into a ready to buy in less than 30 minutes if you do it correctly. And a good long form video is literally sometimes what is standing between you and 5xing your business, quote unquote, overnight. And most people do it wrong because they just post what they feel like posting. And that's exactly why strategy here and making sure every single video has its purpose is an absolute key. And you may be thinking what long form videos you should create, right? So it's definitely VSL, decision making video, objection handling videos, belief shifting videos. It's testimonials, case studies, client interviews, and many, many more. And as you can see, there is some overlap with long form and short form content, right? So objection handling, belief shifting, and that's actually a very, very good thing because every short form video can be used as a lead magnet to the bigger guy, right? So for example, you create a short form video about the common misconception that you are getting, and then after that, you create like a 30-minute video talking about this one thing, and you just use the smaller guy as a funnel to the bigger guy, and when the prospect watches those two, they definitely will not have this misconception. Okay, cool. So you're probably asking, how do I actually create them? So let me break this down for you. So we're gonna talk about intro and the call to action, because if I were to cover mid part of the video, this video will be like 2 hours long, okay? So let's just stick to the opening and the closing of the video. So this is how to create intros that will hook the viewer and increase retention. So first of all, confirm the title, then create a relatable scenario. After that, increase the stakes, then give the overview of key things that they will learn. Then start opening loops, ideally create exclusivity and show proof if possible. And at the end, make sure to explain what this is not gonna be about so people are even more curious. And to give you an actual inception moment, this is literally what I did, right? So first of all, I confirm the title, I show the proof, I create relatable stories along the way. Then I tell you what this video is not about, showing you what I'm gonna cover in this video, making sure that you really understand what this video is gonna give you. And then of course, start opening loops and closing them one by one. So it basically means that if you are still right here, then this definitely works. And using and call to actions, right? So it's just about using a soft call to action because everyone is just tired of people trying to sell them shit. So just tell them like literally the truth, right? So for example, by working with you, they will not need to learn how nutrition works, how going to the gym works, but they will just skip the trial and error and really fast track everything that you just explained. If you take, for example, fitness as an example. So yeah, this is how to create long form videos. And if you do all of those 4 steps correctly, you will definitely turn cold leads into ready to buy leads. Okay, so last step, conversion infrastructure blueprint. And let's imagine for a second, right? You've done step 1 and 2 correctly. So it basically means that right now you have a lot of hot leads, but you are struggling with converting them into calls. And that means that you are basically having no time. And this step will give you many calls and absolute time freedom. And as I said, when you've done the first and second step correctly, you fix your lead generation problem for good. And by doing that, you created new problems. So right now you are spending all your days in the DMs trying to turn all of those people into booked calls yourself. And on the second hand, you need to increasingly spend more time onboarding new clients. which means, hell yeah, you finally fix your lead problem, but you create probably even more annoying problems. Now you have more ready to buy leads than you know what to do with, but you have no time, the business is getting much more complicated at scale, clients are churning because you can't do fulfillment properly, and you are spending whole days in your DMs and in the Zoom calls. Okay, so you're asking how to fix that. So there are literally three ways, the only three ways that you can get out of this situation. So the first one is you just stop growing, right? You are fine with having a 20K a month business, so you stop acquiring new leads and you just focus on building long-term relationship that will decrease churn. And by all means, if you are happy with the stage that you are in, this is a great solution for that. The second step is you create infrastructure yourself, right? So you ask, okay, who I need? And the answer is pretty straightforward, right? You probably need at least one, probably two setters, right? You need a closer, a data guy, or just a VA who is good at tracking data, and someone who knows how to do great nurturing sequences. So basically, let's break down how much it will take you, right? So hiring will probably take you anywhere from 4 to 12 weeks. Then building all the frameworks, SOP scripts, another 2 to 4 weeks. Training the people, probably 4 to 12 weeks. Or maybe if you get people from the higher end, those will be more like 4 weeks. So that basically means that infrastructure will be done around 10 to 28 weeks. So on the upper side, it's half a year of work. Okay, so let me show you how to actually do this correctly, right? Because this is probably what you are asking right now. So 3 steps. So first, appointment setting. And I have this really cool thing for you. So you probably saw this meme, at least one in your life, right? So it's just about the iceberg, how big the iceberg actually is, right? And it's basically the same with appointment setting. So a lot of people just stay here. And what it means, that they just hire like $6 an hour Upwork setter. They have zero or minimum data tracking. They just do copy and paste messages. They also copy and paste setting script, and they have zero assets. And they stay here and they say that appointment setting is boring. And they just say that because they don't know how the game actually looks, right? Because there's so much more in it. So let's talk about it. Speed to lead. So there was this study when they compared texting a lead within 5 minutes and texting it, later. Basically, it goes through 30 minutes. And what they saw is that texting a lead 5 minutes in gives a 10x difference. 10x difference. Imagine that there is one thing in your business that can literally 10x your whole business. And this is speed to lead. And you can just Google it, right? Like there's so many tests on this. And this is why speed to lead is so important. And that's why you probably need 2 setters working half day each. Because if someone replies to you at night and you get back to them in the morning, they probably already forgot about their pain and they will just not convert. And this is why I said here that info or service-based businesses underestimate the power of it. So this is why speed to lead can literally give you an 10x. So imagine 10x more calls booked in your calendar just by tweaking this one extremely simple to understand thing. Okay, so a second step, A/B test. And I already showed you the importance of it, right? Giving more than 40% difference. 40% difference, right? From 69 conversations to 91 with the same offer, with everything the same, just tweaking the actual messages. And that's why executing that, you need to be A/B testing every single part of your script, how these messages lands, especially the highest drop-off points, right? So it will be like calendar link send or just pitching someone. You need to test those things because you can literally, as showed, have a 40% difference, right? Which is again crazy. And a lot of people are ignoring that because first of all, of course, they don't track data. But even if they do, it's just boring to do those A/B tests, like track this data, fill out these spreadsheets. But it's also super, super important. Another one, pre-recorded voice notes, right? So probably the biggest struggle with appointment setting is that your appointment setters will not sound like you. And you can literally fix that just by having pre-recorded voice notes in ManyChat. So you just record a bunch of voice notes and you create sequences in ManyChat so that your appointment setter can be the one sending them. And this of course creates more personalized feeling. And to be honest, I don't see many people doing that, right? So this is something that can really, really improve your appointment setting. And the last one is consistent data tracking, right? Again, so I showed you at the beginning and we will talk about it in a little bit, but look at it. Every single KPI tracked precisely. And this is of course what gives you this crazy return on appointment setting. Because if you know the data, you can make data-driven decisions. And this is incredibly important. And this basically guarantees that small tweaks can yield significant results, which we already covered talking about A/B testing. So this is how to create a really good appointment setting systems. Now let's talk about sequences. So most people think that booking a call is a win, but it's actually just a warm-up, right? And again, when we go back to this very simple concept, right? Let's say that the prospect book a call right here. There is so much more. There's actually half that needs to happen after they book a call, right? So instead of just being here and being happy, someone booked a call with me, you need to actually give them a lot of resources and value for them to be impressed. And then when they jump on the call with you, they are basically sold. So let's talk about how to do it. So first of all, you send a booking link, and then on the calendar, there needs to be 3 questions that they need to answer. First of all, a qualifying question, right? So are they even in your niche? So for example, are you specifically looking to get to Ivy League school? This is just an example with one of our clients. Now, more context, right? So why do you even want to get into Ivy League school? Describe in detail below. And at the end, of course, we need to estimate their current budget, right? But usually you don't want to be that guy who just asks about, okay, how much money do you have? Because people will just not tell you that straight away. So for example, just ask them, what do you currently do? And usually when they will give you an answer here, you will get a pretty good understanding of where they are sitting with their budget. And then based on what questions they answer here, they are redirected to a specific landing page, targeting their pain points. And don't overcomplicate that, right? Those landing pages can be literally built on a Notion, and they can literally look like this. So right here you have a decision-making video, here you have a VSL, and we will talk about those literally right now. So redirected to a landing page. And first of all, decision-making video plus a call to action to a VSL. So decision-making video is a really important step that most people just don't do for some reason. So this is how you do one. So first of all, action steps. Calendar and confirmation urgency. So just make sure that they accept the invitation in their inbox. Now, who you are, so just establish your credibility, identify the prospects or frustrations, then present the solution. So just tell them quickly what you do, then show your best results, testimonials, then really important, set call expectations, right? So prepare them that this is not just a chat, but this is an actual decision or potentially life-changing call. And at the end, of course, do a call to action to the VSL. Now, VSL, probably the highest leverage point in the entire booking sequence. How to do one? First, confirm expectations, right? So again, restate what this call is about. Then present your unique mechanism. After that, build curiosity. Showcase your strongest case study. And right here, of course, when you introduce your unique mechanism, open some loops. And right here, you start closing the loop one by one. Educate people. At the end, stack the value of your offer, create some urgency. And most people struggle with it, but this is actually really simple. For example, imagine that in one day, if you would get 100 people ready, handing you money to work with you, would you be able to actually onboard them? Probably not, because it takes you some time, some effort, right? So for example, say that you only can work with 2 extra people every single month. And at the end, of course, do a call to action to show up on the call. This is how you create a crazy good VSL. Okay, we are almost at the end. So pre-call email sequences. And again, don't overcomplicate that. Of course, you can do a lot with them, but at least have something like this, right? So immediately send out to them this email. So hey, you just booked a call with me, and just make sure that you watch this video. And again, link to this video is a VSL. It's just making sure that they watch the VSL before the call. Again, another email about 6 hours before the call, watch this video right here. Again, making sure that they watch the VSL. This is so important. And at the end, IG reminders. So make your appointment setter do all the reminders so they actually show up on the call. And now, once they show up on the call, there are 3 things that can happen. One is a no-show. And then you just run with no-show sequence. So again, you create an email sequence that just nurtures them and maybe target a specific reason why you think they didn't show up on the call. The second, they show up and they are close, so everything is amazing there, but maybe they show up and they are not close. So then you create a post-call VSL. So you basically create a loom, you talk about their pain points, all of that, and at the end you do some light call to action to like a free resource or a YouTube video. And after that, you just get them onto this sequence so they can be still nurturing, and maybe you can try closing them after a few months. And if you do all of this, your Stripe should be looking like this one. And last step, data tracking. Because as we said a few times in this video, data is an absolute key. And good data tracking is what literally separates glorified freelancing from real businesses. Because when you have the data, it is very hard to be stuck. And you may ask why? Because you will always see what part of the business is not working, right? So for example, when we look at this, we have all the performance of the business. How many we are spending on ads, how many we are getting followers, how many inbound leads, how many qualified leads, how many DMs we are sending, what's the DM to convo, what's the convo to booking rate, right? Then how the actual calls are looking, what's the show up rate, what's the close rate, and what's the cash collected and revenue, right? And when we see, for example, that DM to convo is looking a little bit weak, we can just tweak the first message. When we see that convo to booked is weak, probably a setter needs to be trained better or replaced. When we see that a show up rate is wrong, we need to tweak pre-call sequence. And when we see that a close rate is bad, we need to change the closer. And this is how you never get stuck, because you always know what to do next. And this is exactly why the data is king. And this is why every single point that we covered is based on data. So we covered it all. We covered how to go from no leads to having a lot of leads. We covered then how to go from having a lot of cold leads to having a lot of ready to buy leads. And at the end, we covered how to create a business that literally works for you without you, giving you everything that you wanted when starting this online journey. And I have literally one more thing for you. Please take this and go build something great, okay? I hope it was very valuable. Build something great, because as you can see, it is simple, but it's not easy to implement, okay? And I hope everything here was incredibly valuable for you. And if you want to skip all the trial and error, right? And if you want someone to just come into your business and copy and paste those proven mechanisms and scale you from here to here, then just literally DM me on Instagram. I will be the one to reply to you. We will have a chat to see if we are a good fit and potentially work with you. So take care.